Hello and welcome. This is Dottie Berry. I am CEO of Training to Transform. I'm a consultant, coach, and speaker, and I'm really excited because we are this week 5 generations of expert, epic entrepreneurs who are really here to mentor you, to coach you, to offer you some insights, and really share some of our personal experiences. Which I think sometimes when we do that people are able to connect. Wow, I hear that,
Mhm.
in our story, and you resonate with that. And so, what we're doing this week is this is our fourth day of week one, and we're really working on creating a mind shift versus having a mindset. And I've got Yasmine Bijan Wilson with me, and she is an amazing coach in her own right. And just a little bit about my background is that I coached women's basketball at the University of Kentucky. I left there and went on to become an entrepreneur. I've been an entrepreneur for over 35 years. And I say that I went from being an entrepreneur to being a socialpreneur, a person who likes to
Shh,
really
Mama's gonna come.
take entrepreneurial principles to make a difference in people's lives. And as you can see, we've got kids in the mix. We're like 5 generations of people. I mean, my dog Riley Joy may come in a minute and start barking, but that's what life is working from home. So rather than you thinking, oh, wow, what's going on here? I hope you go, wow, I resonate with them. I've got kids and I want to be an entrepreneur. Because really, that's what it's all about. It's about, us understanding that you have things going on in your life. Yasmine has a sick daughter this week,
Yeah.
and gratefully she works from home, so she can be there. But these are the kind of things that come up, and we understand that. Life is life, and it doesn't mean that things don't show up sometimes that way. But also, we know that by being an entrepreneur, that you have some options and some flexibility that way with your life. Oftentimes, that's why people want to do it. But for me, I became that sort of like socialpreneur, person who was using these entrepreneurial principles to really do things to make a difference in life. And then I would say, even now, I'm what is called an educatorpreneur because I really want to, help people get their story out. That really, I mean, like in a course, for instance, because I know that so many people have a message inside of them, something to share, something that resonates with their target audience, but they don't know how to do that. So my course and book coming out in February is going to help people with that. So that's kind of what I'm up to in coaching, entrepreneurs. I just tell people I ride a different vehicle now. I'm no longer coaching, on the basketball court, but I'm sure still coaching because I was born to coach. And Yasmine, just a little bit as we're trying to do this each day as we get started, just so that you know who you're dealing with. So Yasmine, welcome, and I hope she's
Thank you.
feeling better.
She is. She's here with me. I had to pull out the big guns, which means television, to make sure she's occupied. I have a great room, so she's there in my peripheral, so I can see her. And I've got my dogs in the back. So, like you said, this is life, and this is how we are as entrepreneurs, trying to juggle many things, working from home. So my daughter is home with me. She's not feeling well. You might hear my dogs barking in the back. They're Bodie and Buddy. My daughter Alyssa is in her PJs right now. I've got her watching Dumbo. So hopefully, well, she might chime in and be our sixth epic entrepreneur generation.
I love it.
She might chime in. So anyway, so it's such a pleasure to be able to work from home. And it has its challenges. And most often, she's in school, got everything managed. For example, if I'm on a coaching call. But, what we're about on our epic entrepreneur journey is that we want to show people the reality of what life looks like as an entrepreneur. So
Yeah.
we're peeling back the curtain. We're showing people, the real deal. So we're managing all the things that we have to in life and in business. It has its challenges. If you go to a job, your dog isn't there, your kid isn't there, but they may not have the flexibility to be able to help, with your child being sick, or you have other options. So I feel very fortunate that I get to work from home and have a career that I love. I'm born to coach too. I love it. I have not been a professional coach in sport, but I loved sport, and I've always been a mentor or coach in some capacity for as long as I can remember. So it is my passion too, to be able to empower people in what they're up to. And an entrepreneur in particular, it takes a certain, as they say, chutzpah, to be an entrepreneur. It really does.
Yeah.
And even though I have a very vast corporate America background, I was working at one of the top wireless companies, cellular phone companies, for about 13 years. And it gave me a lot of training. And it too was a small company that became this large company. So I got to see how a company grew as a small sort of entrepreneurial one to a really large entity, if you will. And it was amazing. And one of the backbones to its growth is that they used coaching in their model. At the time, it was called Total Quality Advantage, and coaching was a part of it. And really having everybody align on their vision and their goals and their mission. And they just became just huge. And it's one of the largest carriers. So to this day. And after a while, I actually started to pursue the personal development, professional development world, because a lot of what I did in sales and as a trainer was I was out in front of people and I was really needing to perform. And the more I worked on myself and worked on my blind spots and improved myself and looked at, just like in sport, you know, you're betting yourself and you're practicing, the better I got in my career. And I worked with coaches. And as I was working with them, I thought, well, gosh, you know, I want to have a family. I want to have some flexibility. I do love the opportunity that I worked in corporate world, but then I could parlay it and open my own business. And who I ended up coaching were a lot of entrepreneurs as well. Some oftentimes were in corporate world as well, needing to move into their own business for whatever reason. So it's for you and I, it's the people that we love to hang out with, swim in the pond with, or the ocean, is our entrepreneurs, you know, because they're creatives. They have a vision and a passion for what they're doing. And it does take a tremendous amount of courage to be an entrepreneur.
Absolutely it does.
I don't have a safety net, you know, you can create it, but you know, there's a lot of skill set that's required in an entrepreneur.
And you know, that's why we're kind of taking it, Yasmine, this week and looking at these different foundational levels. And the mind shift is something that people really have to get. I mean, it's one thing to say, I want to be an entrepreneur. It's another thing to go out there and do it and be courageous in that way. Cut you know what I'm saying? Cut some things off that might feel safe to you at times, because everybody reaches that point. I'm not suggesting that everybody go quit your job and just, you know, you have to plan it. Okay. And
don't quit your day job.
Yeah. And you've got to, you know, outline your path. And that's what we're looking at this week. You know, we're looking at the mind shift. We're looking at the finances, how to power up your finances so you can make some of those decisions of going more, you know, strictly into being an entrepreneur. The relationships, you know, you can't just go down that path and say, to heck with my family, to heck with this and that. But you do have to know what you want to be. And I tell people, look, it's not anybody else's obligation to be in and live your dream. You know what I'm saying? But they do need to respect your dream. Everybody doesn't have to be on board and want to be an entrepreneur like you, but they have to respect that you want to be an entrepreneur. And so then we have our physical well-being, because if we don't have our health, really nothing else matters. It doesn't matter. I mean, you know, we're not here to ask Steve Jobs about that, but you know, he had all the money in the world and could not change his situation. And so the health is very important. And then the last thing that we end up with in our bonus week is what Coach Jay is offering. And that's even diving in more to the model of how to be what we call solution focused. I call it solution centric, and instead of being problem focused. Okay. So, or problem oriented, you know, a little bit different terminology, but this is what we're talking about. And I look back, Yasmine, to when I was 15 years old, and I coached my my little 10 and under basketball team. And I was so excited, and I knew I had found my little niche right then and there. And so being an entrepreneur and coaching and all is just great fun. But, you know, one of the things we're going to start with today is a video, about a 6-minute video now, but it's great because it's by Tony Robbins, and he's talking about limitless possibilities. This is huge, Yasmine, as you know. So we talked on Monday, or excuse me, Tuesday. We blabbed on Monday. We have blabs on Monday where all 5 generations are coming into 4 seats. It's like musical chairs. We're coming in and out. And then on the Tuesday through Friday, we're doing these trainings because we can screen share, something we can't do on Blab. So then we had the blind spots and the beliefs we started into, and then chaos and results. And so today we're going into, who do you think you are, really? I mean, who do you believe yourself to be? So Yasmine, I'm going to go ahead and screen share and bring up this video. If there's anything you want to offer while I'm getting this ready, you go right ahead.
Well, I just wanted to comment on how you knew how early on you were a coach and you were an entrepreneur. Well, I knew that I was always a mentor, and my mom would always say, you know, your brother doesn't have an older brother, even though I was his older sister. So I always felt like I was a mentor to him. And as I got into college, I would tutor or I'd babysit, or, you know, I always just kind of found myself taking people under my wing. And people would always come to me for advice and wisdom. And even at 9 years old, I remember my parents saying to me, where do you get this wisdom? I was like 9, you know, and I'm like life coaching them, I think they were saying, because they were having some challenges and stuff, and they were looking at separating at the time. And I don't know, it was just one of those things that just came naturally. And then the entrepreneurial piece, I'm not even kidding. I would go with my with a friend of mine, and we'd make these little art projects, and we'd go around trying to sell them, right, to the neighbors, you know, for a dime or whatever. It had like saran wrap around it as like the glass, right? It was just so funny. Or I would have a lemonade stand or anything like that. And I always just saw, you know, doing things like that. And even in college, I always, you know, look for opportunities. So, you know, that was an exciting thing that you had shared, because you kind of know early on. And now the coaching, it brought the both of the worlds together, if that makes sense. So being a coach and, you know, hanging out my own shingle, if you will, as my own business owner, offering coaching, speaking, consulting, and training services. So it kind of brought the worlds together. So I just wanted to comment about that, about my own experience, and maybe the audience can maybe look back in their life and start to notice things that pointed in that direction, that already illuminated the things they're passionate about and what made them want to be an entrepreneur.
And that's so true, Yasmine, because I know I talk to many people and I say, you know, why that you want to be an entrepreneur is so important. And so many times I hear, you know, I've been living the life my parents wanted me to live. I can look back and know that I had all these things like we described, and yet they're in something that they don't really want to do. And so I'm coaching them on how to move beyond where they don't want to be so they can move into where they do want to be. Because, you know, it's not up to me to tell somebody you ought to be an entrepreneur. That's not our role. Our role is, if you tell us, I want to be an entrepreneur, then we're your gang. We're like 5 generations here. And we're offering because we know how valuable being an entrepreneur is, and especially to our world, because so many of the new ideas come through entrepreneurship and small businesses. So we've got our 5 generations, or the 20s, the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, and the 60s, you know. And so one thing I will comment on, Yasmine, this summer I was going down to the beach. I live about a mile from the beach in Birch Bay, Washington, and there were kids selling rocks and shells who they had painted on them. So I tell you what, Yasmine, I turned my car. Well, actually, I was walking when I first saw them. I went down, got in my car, drove back up to where they were, and I said, "What are y'all doing?" And they explained it to me. So I picked out several rocks, and then I went back to my car, and I got a $20 bill, and I came back to them. I said, "I want you to know I really appreciate that you are out here and being young entrepreneurs." And I said, "I want to contribute to you being entrepreneurs. So this is for your business." And handed them that $20 bill, and we took pictures together. They were so excited, you can't even imagine.
That is so awesome, Dotti. You know, really, they're never, ever going to forget that for the rest of their life. Someone supporting them, someone they don't even know, saying, "Here, I'm willing to give you money, and I want to support you in your vision and your dream." I mean, even though that's not what, you know, they probably said at the time, but like, you're just supporting them. Just, if anybody walked up to my lemonade stand and bought lemonade, I was like the happiest kid in the world, right? It's the same thing. So it's so exciting. And if you think about it, every business practically that's out there was a small business. I mean, even Apple, right? Steve Jobs working, you know, out of his garage, and now it's this huge thing. We forget that almost most businesses started off as a small business and an idea,
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So there are people listening right now thinking they've got an idea and they've wanted to be an entrepreneur. And like you said, we're not forcing anybody, but if this is what they say they want, we are here to help support in making that transition. Or if you're already an entrepreneur and you want to take your business to the next level, we also are here to support, as the 5 generations, as you said. And it's awesome. And, in the world of collaboration, it takes a village. So we are like this, your village. We're your children's village and we're your village. Yeah.
So with that, we're just going to go on in, and you can see this, right?
Yeah, I can. I can see Tony's big, beautiful smile.
I know it. So I'm going to start it up here.
Sounds good.
And that would be twice what my father made. And she thought that would happen, but something inside of me said, I don't want to drive a truck. There's something else that matters more to me. And I decided I was not going to go for money instead of passion. And the reward's been pretty amazingly better than being a truck driver. Not bad being a truck driver, it's just not what I was after. And I look back, and one of the things that helped me was my original teacher, Jim Rohn, who's a personal development speaker. I went to hear when I was 17. He said something the first time I heard it, and he said, it's really simple. If you want life to change, you got to change. If you want life to be better, you've got to get better. It's the only way it happens. And luck will show up for people and believe them. But if you're constantly improving who you are and what you give, game over. When people ask me, what does it take to be happy? I always tell them one word: progress. Progress equals happiness. Even if you're not where you want to be yet, if you're on the road, if you're improving, if you're making progress, you're going to love it. You're going to feel alive. On the other hand, it doesn't matter how successful you are, if you stop growing, you start dying inside. I've always had this belief: if you want to be successful in anything in life, never leave the sight of setting a goal without doing something to convince you to fulfillment. If you get, you're in state, right, when you do something. While you're in state, that's the time to commit yourself to something that makes you follow through. So I call somebody up, I schedule something, I walk in the next meeting, I sign up for the class, I enroll the guy who's going to mentor me, I set the meeting with a mastermind of people I met. I did something so that whatever I committed to, there was something when I went home that would pull me there. It's structure. This could be the greatest time you ever live if you control what you focus on, if you find a more empowering meaning, and if you decide to model the actions of those who succeeded before you. It can be the best financial time, the best emotional time, the best spiritual time of your life, but you better take control of your state. And if you think you're going to do it just by today, you're wrong. You're going to need to get yourself some rituals. Right now, every one of you in this room is controlled by your rituals. I don't just mean this one. I mean, every morning you get up. I know your body. I can look at your body right now, and I can guess your rituals. Some of you, your rituals to work out 5 times a week. I can see it clearly. 4 to 6 times a week, it's obvious. Because you couldn't look like that if you didn't do that. Some form of workout. I don't care if it's walking, lifting, whatever. Some of you, it's obvious that lifting weights is part of it. You can see by the man's muscles. I know what his rituals are. Because your life comes from your rituals. If you don't develop the ritual, you're kidding yourself. How many of you agree with me on this? Raise your hand and say, I.
Aye.
The state and the rituals will take you out of state. But if you've got that focus, the target, you got the toolbox, you're still not getting what you want. Because you got inner conflicts. You've got to resolve your inner conflicts. Because as I'm trying to explain to you, 80% of success in anything is your psychology and 20% is the mechanics. So those inner conflicts are when you take 2 steps forward, you take 3 steps back. Right? When you say, well, I'm totally committed to this, but you don't follow through. This is my expertise, the why guy part. Why? Why do you keep saying you want this? You have crystal clarity, you have the tools, and you're still not getting it? There's a conflict in you. So align your life with what is most important to you. And then once you are in a position where you're aligned, guess what you'll do? Take action. You don't have to work out. When everything's in alignment, there's nothing pulling you away, boom, you go for it. Progress comes when you tell yourself the truth and you're able to feel the uncertainty and take action anyway. The thing that stops us all is fear. It's no surprise. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of the unknown, fear of not looking good. And that fear we can translate to the simple thing of uncertainty. Now, when you look at someone who's incredibly successful, you look at someone who's truly a leader in their life or in their field, the one thing they have in common is they exude this sense of certainty. Where does that come from? Is it inborn? Are they lucky? Are they just going their way? No, great leaders know how to step in the uncertainty and bring the certainty to the situation. Most people in life, you really feel like the level of stress in our life comes to how much of life do you feel like you control? How much does life control you? You tend to control more of what's going on, or events controlling you. It's very easy to have those events start to take control, unless we take control of what's between our ears, our own mind. You see, what you and I focus on massively affects how we feel, whether we're thriving or surviving. If you focus on what you can't control, if you focus on the past, if you focus on what's missing in your life constantly, that pattern of focus will make you frustrated, overwhelmed, depressed. It won't even matter if you're taking antidepressants and you focus on what you can't control, what's missing from your life. You're going to feel depressed. You can take as many antidepressants as you want. Focus equals power. If you want to thrive, you got to focus on what you can't control. You got to focus on the difference you can. You got to focus on what's going on in your life that you're grateful for. So you got to find a story that's going to empower you to act. A story that's going to get you to find the breakthrough. Because otherwise, with a lousy story, you'll never find the strategy, or you'll come up with a reason why it's too expensive, you can't get there, you can't access it, or you'll even get the strategy and then half-ass apply it just so you can reward your story that says it doesn't work as I tried. Resourcefulness is the ultimate resource. And if you don't have what you want, you stop telling yourself the story because you don't have the money over time. That's bullshit. It's because you haven't committed yourself where you would burn your boats. If you want to take the fucking island, burn your fucking boats. And you will take because people, when they're going to either die or succeed, they will succeed. But most of us give ourselves a way out, and that's why we don't have what we want. I was thinking about where this journey began for me, my desire to serve. Every day before I get on stage, I do this thing to whip myself with a big steak, and then my last words are, use me, Lord. That's my prayer. And every day my goal is to be a blessing in people's lives. Just do more, give more, share more, create more. What you need will be there. It's like air. You don't stop to think about when you take a breath whether it'll be there or not. It's always going to be there. Yeah. You just got to do your part.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Your own personal, let me kind of stop that. Your own personal reaction to that response.
Wow. Just wow. At such a young age, at 17, to have that kind of mentorship and really recognizing and having the wisdom and courage to go for it.
Mm-hmm.
And I, from what I understand, he's really transformed his life from where he was when he first began. He isn't the Tony Robbins we see in front of us today. Absolutely. Is what I understand. He created what we see as the Tony Robbins that we see today and who he's been. And it's quite inspiring because I understand he just went through a lot and it was out of his commitment. So it's just inspiring.
Absolutely. This is just a great segue, Yasmine, into us I'm going to go back and screen share, and we're going to kind of do a recap of where we were on Tuesday and then yesterday and sort of draw this together. But I just felt like that video so encapsulates, what we're talking about, what we're working on, and bringing you up to this point if you're watching this live or whether you're watching it on the recording. So I'm going to go ahead and do this screen share real quick, if that's okay.
Okay. Hi, sweetheart. I'm still on my call, honey. Okay, there's a pillow right there.
Okay, can you see that, Yasmine?
I can see that. And just a thought before we move on to this, people may want to have that video if there's a way like they might be able to tap into that and see it more clearly on their own. Yeah,
and I will put a link as people are going through the process and in the emails and so forth that you get every day, reminding you about each, training that's coming up. I'll put a link to that, and then you'll be able to see that again, because I have people that are watching that over and over, Yasmine. I mean, I've had people lately that have called me after I sent that to them. They're just in tears, really. They're just going, gosh, I see my life right there where, it's really clear what I need to do and break through. So that's the good thing about it. We all get to look at that and say, who am I? And this is where, who am I really? You know, Yasmine? So this is what this comes down to. Who am I? Not who your friends say you are, not who your parents say you are. I don't care if everybody in the world tells you you can't be an entrepreneur, you'll fail. The only way you'll fail is if you believe them. So this is why we're looking at what we're looking at, our beliefs and blind spots. So let me ask you, can you see this now when this is big?
I can. Yep. Oh, and I see some fireworks.
Okay, so, I mean, really, this is why we're doing this week. It's about get your biz lean. Now, what does that mean? If you notice what Tony Robbins said, he said, I can look at somebody and tell, you know, what actions they're taking.
It's so true, right?
Yeah. So the question for all of us is, can we look at your business and tell that it's lean and ready to go? You know, lean means I'm on top of it. I'm on top of my game. So we're laying a foundation this, you know, in this 30 days plus the bonus week of really getting your mind cemented on where you want to go and shifting and so forth. So as we look at this, then we go, okay, the beliefs and the blind spots. I mean, you heard him talking about, are you looking in the past? Is that what you're focusing on? Because you may be focusing on what you can't control. And what you want to do is you want to focus on what you can control. So this is what we're looking at. And we said about this 30-day epic coaching challenge. What does that mean, epic coaching challenge? That means we're challenging ourselves. We're challenging one another. We're challenging you to step up the game. Get specific, get focused, and get real is not just a call to action to you to get real. That's why we're getting real in these videos. You know, I've got my child here and she's sick. And, you know, these different situations that are coming up. So this is what we're about. And we looked at this with our blind spot, just to kind of recap from a couple days ago. And you see that red car over there. Yeah, we can see it. Looking at it, that's real easy. You know, when we're looking at this picture, Yasmine, we're in the space of we know what we don't know. But if we don't know what we don't know, which the blind spot is we don't know what we don't know. In other words, if we didn't take any time to slightly turn our head, then we wouldn't be able to see that car and we'd run over it. So when we turn our head slightly, we bring it into the light. We bring it into our vision. That's what we're working on doing. So when that moves away, then we're able to have what we call create a mind shift. And that's exciting. The shift, and see folks, this can happen daily. We're going to show you how this can happen, but that happens daily. And that is versus having your mind, what? Set. Boom. You see how that is? I mean, it works. It doesn't work for you. It works against you. So the idea is continually, daily have mind shifts. So as we look at this then, we're going to kind of go right back through our model real quickly because it absolutely applies to what he was talking about. Don't you think, Yasmine?
Absolutely. I had myself on mute for a second. I didn't want any. I was shaking my head, yes, but you may not have seen it. So yeah, I just muted. I didn't want to interrupt with any background noise on my end, but absolutely. Yeah, no, I'm glad we're circling back.
Yeah, I was just listening to him and I was thinking, oh my gosh, he's talking about exactly what we've covered over the last couple of days. And so just so you'll see this, I mean, we all start at the bottom of this S, okay? This is actually a quantum physics model. I haven't really, you know, kind of ties into the second law of thermodynamics. I don't want to blow anybody away with science or anything because it's more simple than it is complex. But if you see that sort of S, stable is at the bottom. You see that it's black. We're often stuck when we're in. A lot of people say, oh, I just want to be stable. I go, really? You want to be stuck and die? Because you see how those red arrows are. The reason it's going up and coming back down is because when we encounter chaos or anything that's challenging or difficult, we all have a tendency to come back down to stable where it's comfortable. But as Marianne Williamson reminded us, that the miracle happens when we step outside our comfort zone. So in order to really grow and not be, see, here's the fear. Here's what happens. I mean, Tony just nailed it. He talked about how the fear of success, the fears keep us from moving forward and getting what we want and desire in our life. So fear often stands for false elements appear real. Well, I like to transform it and say full evolution attracts revolution. You know,
I like it.
Shift that fear so that you begin to move through the chaos, because if you knew that there was gold, I mean literal gold beneath your chaos, you might peek beneath it, embrace it a little bit further. And so that's the opportunity, because what happens if we stay in the fear is that the blind spots literally blind us. So if we're going to move through that fear and transform it from false elements appear real, and we know that's how fear works. Things that aren't even reality become our reality, but they are our subjective reality. And so when we move through this, the full evolution attracts revolution, then we can begin to be in the space of having what we call the mind shift. And the mind shift happens very quickly to move you through the chaos. And then as you continually, daily, moment by moment, shift your mind in small increments, and I'm going to show you how small in just a second, in tiny, minute increments. If you listen to Tony, that's what he was talking about, progress. He didn't say you got to be perfect tomorrow. You got to be a $1 billion entrepreneur tomorrow. No, he said you got to make progress. So if we have a shift, we will. And our progress will take us to the level of our unique, best, epic you. So this is metastable. That's what that's called. So we go from stable to through chaos, having the mind shift that takes us transforming fear in the blind spots, bringing the blind spots out of the darkness into the light, and we become our best self. So as we do this, what's important is to experience a mind shift. You only have to 1%. That's progress. See, if it's 1% more than it was, then you have improved. You have made progress, and you're moving towards your goal. So that's what we're working on this week. And so when we look at these beliefs and blind spots, okay, and we even smile sometimes as we're holding our blind spots, not knowing that, like with a big, I call it shit-eating grin on our face. Pardon me, I hope your daughter didn't hear that, but you know what I'm saying? Right where Tony being passionate about what he said at one moment in the video. So, you know, I mean, it's
all good.
Yeah, was that Yasmine?
I said it's all good. She didn't. And my husband and I are always thinking of other words when accidentally things slip out.
Well, sometimes it's just the word that needs to be said, you know?
That's it.
And so we look at this, and here's the thing. Beliefs and blind spots, if they don't empower us, both of those can make us delusional. In fact, both of those can make us make wrong decisions out of our need to be right. Oh my gosh. When I think back, Yasmine, it's kind of scary. And so my daily goal is to get out of that. And we saw Brene Brown saying, hi, I'm Brene. I'm a blamer. You know, get out of that blamer, that victim, that being right. Because first of all, nobody believes it. And secondly, it doesn't empower us to not own our stuff. It's not a bad thing. People are never impressed by your perfection. They're impressed by what you moved through. I liked what Tony said. He said, you know, when you feel uncertainty and you take action anyway, that's courage. See, if you feel uncertain about being an entrepreneur, I get it. Do you get that, Yasmine? She may be on mute again.
Yeah, I did. I muted again. Yeah, I'm sitting there shaking my head.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, when we have it on the screen share, we can't see you. So, you know.
Oh, got it.
Yeah. So anyway,
I'm learning all these tools, but yeah.
Yeah, one of the things we've offered you all was Discover Your Epic Code. And that's online that you were able to take that. You were able to get yourself a detailed report called Epic TAP. TAP stands for Total Assessment Personality Profile Report. And, you know, so this is great. If you haven't done that yet, go to epicpreneurs.com. You'll be able to go and get your report. So all of this, and what I love, listen to what Tony was talking about. Oh my gosh, he was talking about what you focus on. You can control what you focus on through your rituals. So this is what I say, what you focus on, you discover. What you focus on feels real. What you focus on expands. What you focus on, you become. And if you aren't getting what you desire, reshift your focus. So that's really what we're looking at today. And you know what? I'm going to take that off right there. And now watch what I'm going to do, because Tony gave a real great thing. Now watch how I'm going to, in the moment, implement something. Okay? And I'm going to say, what you focus on empowers you. Did you?
That's so true. Absolutely.
You know, so I was like, oh, I'm using that nugget. Now he said it creates your power. So I'm kind of having just a tweak on it, but what you focus on empowers you. Oh my gosh, I couldn't wait to get over here and make that change. So I'm like, I'm going to make it right in the midst of everybody, you know? This is how we do. That's what you call, folks, a mind shift, okay? So here's where we're at now. We are getting ready to move into who are you really? That's what this little line that you received in the email to share with you today about what was the topic going to be. We just put little nugget lines here to entice you to go, wonder what they're talking about. So, Yasmine, I'm going to turn it over to you now to kind of guide us through this process of some questions we're going to look at. We're going to give them some things to kind of write down, take some notes on, and maybe do tonight. And then tomorrow, when we come back, we're going to put some people in the Hangout Love Seat, and we're going to coach them. One of the ladies that actually has been watching that Tony Robbins video over and over again, I think she's going to be the one that's going to come on for sure. So go ahead, Yasmine.
Absolutely. Well, I'm a trained accomplishment coaching coach. Yeah. All right. It's okay. It's okay. I'm a trained accomplishment coaching coach, and a lot of the coaching distinctions that I'll use, I'll be drawing upon the accomplishment coach training coaching program, if that makes sense. And there's two distinctions that they talk about. It's very, very in sync with what we're talking about with blind spots.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes hand in hand with what Tony talked about with fear. And that is, there are essentially two places to operate from, or at least consider. There are two places we can operate from. One is from love or empowerment.
Uh-huh.
One is from fear or perhaps disempowerment, right? Mm-hmm. Love would be where you're inspired, you're on fire, you're empowered, powerful place to come from. The other, what they call survival mechanism. We do it to survive, but we're not empowered. And that might look a lot like blame or victim. So really, those are two worlds to operate from, love or fear. I'm going to just break it down, love or fear. And we have two terms for those in accomplishment coaching. We call you come from your essence, which is the powerful you, the love you, your highest self you. Or you can come from your survival mechanism, where we go when we go into complaint or fear, or thinking small, or go into old limiting beliefs that don't serve us. Again, love or fear, essence or survival mechanism. And when we start to look at, a lot of our blind spots lie in our survival mechanism, and we start to go like this and bring it into full view, or just kind of like you said, turn your head, and you start to see where you're having challenges in your life or your business. It likely is that you're stuck in your survival mechanism of what you've known in the past to do to survive, but you're not inspired, you're not empowered, you're not you're not getting results that you want. When you operate and shift from a place of love, from a place of power, and you focus on that, absolutely what you just said, what you focus on empowers you, and who you're being when you operate in your life, who you're being and where you operate from, absolutely will trigger different results. So let me just
think about that for a second. When people do that, they open up a whole new space for people to come in and support them and see that essence. And it's absolutely amazing. And people want to be around them because they're like, I don't know what you got, but honey, I want some of it.
I got my chill check going on right now. You said that's exactly right. I got the goosebumps because you feel like you're on fire, you're lit up. You know, you're energized. People are like, you know, are you doing a new diet? What are you doing different? It absolutely, it's from the inside out. It's an inside job.
Yes.
And so as you inquire into looking at what your blind spots are and looking at, am I operating from my fear, my victim, or am I operating from a place of power or empowerment or love?
Mm-hmm.
Two places, whether it's in relationship, whether it's in business, wherever it is, if you're stuck, or if you're not producing a different result, or you feel inside you, you know something's off, or like you were saying, in that stable place, how are you going to take it and have literally a quantum leap is to make those shifts. And it literally is recognizing in the moment, having the awareness and the wherewithal to go, am I operating from fear? A lot of fear comes from the past as well, like past mistakes, past things people have told us, past disempowering, limiting beliefs, versus when we operate from love and empowerment, it creates whole new possibilities for what is possible in our life and in our business. Huge shift that can happen. And so those are the things that I wanted to talk about for today, to stand on the shoulders of the previous distinctions we shared, because these are things that our audience can be paying attention to, and start a ritual, start practicing paying attention. Start paying attention. It's not like you have to be managing all your thoughts, but just what's the matter, sweetheart? You're okay, honey.
You know, Yasmine, I like to think in terms of, I want to be conscious of the thoughts that come up. And what I've had to learn to do is to let it be conscious and aware of it, and not judge it.
Right. And then at that point, now you have a choice, because now it's in your awareness. You can choose, well, you know, you can stay in fear and there's nothing wrong with it, but it's out of your commitment. What commitment do you have that you need to now shift, make a conscious shift in your life? And what does that look like? Well, it really starts from the mindset, even more so if people want to like sit there and always be monitoring, like you said, the thoughts, but just be mindful, right? Be conscious of it. And when you start to do that as a practice, you'll begin to recognize old patterns that no longer serve you. You'll be like aha moments, start popping like a popcorn. Like, you know, and there is a great action that I'd like to invite people to take in their life, to start to recognize what their essence and what their survival mechanism might look like. So I'm going to share with that right now what that exercise is. So the survival mechanism can often be identified based on your complaints, which yesterday I gave as an action item. You know, as coaches, we get people in action. Your complaints in life are absolutely a direct reflection of what your survival mechanism looks like. So I tasked people to go and ask others in their life if they can't recognize from themselves what their complaints are. So the complaints basically are things that really run your life and you don't see them. It's like, what are you talking about? You know, or what blind spot? So those complaints can be then transformed into a single word, perhaps. And here's how this works. If the complaint is, you know, gosh, how come I never get my way? I think of my 3-year-old daughter who's going through that phase, right? And we're all like, I always say, you know, we're 3-year-olds running around in these grown-up bodies that, you know, we haven't transformed it, you know. How many times may not look like a full-on tantrum on the floor, but come on now, let's be real. Like, we have those all the time. Like, I'm not getting my way. I'm not getting what I want. I'm not getting the results that I want, you know. And so while we would describe that complaint as someone who's a whiner, okay, let's just say that's a whiner. Now, when I went through this exercise, I'm going to get really real. I'll share with everybody what my survival mechanism is. And when you go through this is a biggie now. So the whiner part absolutely can describe some of the complaints in my own life that I've had. And it sounds a lot like what my daughter's maybe in the background, so it's easy to see. But when I'm not getting my way, I could definitely feel whiner, like inside, even though I might be a professional grown-up version of it. But the reality is, if we were to poke fun at ourselves and just have fun with it instead of taking it so heavy and significant and ourselves so seriously, if we were on the playground, you know, at school, let's say, kids aren't always nice, they might go, well, you're such a whiner, you know, that's the complaint. So it's very simple to be able to say, it's like, oh, am I being whiner in my life? Or coming from essence, when I did the essence exercise, which I'll give in a moment, which is mine is grace and peace and power and compassion and empathy. So when I do that, are you being an example right now? Yeah, are you showing me an example?
I actually brought her to have a prop. Yeah,
that's right. Here, come here, honey. Come here. Can you bring that to me?
Bring her over to your lap.
Come here. Come here. Oh, she's scared. So, okay. Well, you want me to turn up? So, essentially, then your essence is who you show up as when people recognize you in your light. Okay, 1 second. Take over for a sec, Dotti. Okay. What do you feel?
So I think what Yasmine is really getting at here is, we're either blocked in terms of seeing who we are, or we're living out of our essence and life is working, getting the results we want. If we're not, here's what I always look at. It doesn't matter what part of my life it is. If it's not what I want, if I'm not having the results I want, I have to look at my actions. I have to look at my focus. I have to look at what am I doing that's leading up to this particular result. And I can tell you for myself, one of the great things is I tell people, look, I am really, 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 really good in a lot of things. And that's great. But, that's also my downfall. And I know that I am an expert, epic entrepreneur coach. And because I know that, I have become more and more focused on offering my course for educator entrepreneurs, because I really am passionate about people having a message to get out into the world. And I tell them, you're not free until you get that message out into the world, because there's nobody else that can do it. No two people are alike. So to be able to work with people, because here's what I see. There's so many opportunities now for people to get their messages out. And I know a lot of really great ways of people being able to do that, and platforms and, the way technology works. But a lot of people just don't know how to do that. So that's my passion to focus on, okay? But, I have to remind myself, just because I enjoy this, and this, is that really what I want to be doing? So one of the examples I gave is, if you look at a target, an archery range, that target has the bullseye in the center. And that is your epic action, your epic niche or whatever in what you want to do, because that's what's going to get the greatest results. Now, if you're not getting the results you want, maybe you don't even have a target. See, and that's a problem. As I said the other day, I'm not going to the archery range with you because I may become your target. Not intentionally, but you go and you got arrows, you want to shoot them somewhere. And that's when people get injured. But if you have a target that you're shooting at for your business results, that tells you where you're going. Now, when I go and you go to the archery range, and this is an analogy, of course, and you shoot the arrow, does that mean you're going to hit the bullseye every time? Of course not. But I'll guarantee you this, if you keep going to the archery range every day and you get some coaching, right? Don't just go to the archery range for the next 5 years and don't know how to hold the bow and pull the arrow correctly and those kind of things. You're still probably never going to hit the target. Oh, maybe after a while you just have some natural talent and you'll do it a little bit. But I'll guarantee you, if you get coaching, this is what Tony Robbins says, you want to be successful, coaches help you identify and clarify your choices. You still have to do it. But if you get some coaching at that archery range, you are going to be hitting the bullseye sooner rather than later. And so that's what we're working on, as we're clarifying, as we're coming out of our essence. If I refuse to get coaching, if I just say, I'm going to do it on my own, if I truly believe I pulled myself up by my bootstraps, I did it all on my own, that's when I remind people, you do nothing on your own. Somebody made the boots, somebody made the straps, but as long as you have the mindset, I do it all on my own, then your pathway to be successful is going to be much more lengthy. Okay? So here's where we're just wanting to look at, who are you really? Who are you? Well, you're whoever you want to be, and you are a compilation of your focus that is creating your empowerment and your results. So if you don't like what you're getting, as I showed on the diagram, reshift. That's all, reshift. You don't have to be wrong. You don't have to be bad. You just have to recognize, wow, I am ready to change some stuff in my life. I am ready to go so epic, laser targeted with what I want to do in order to get the results I want, and I'm going to do whatever it takes to make that happen. When you take that attitude and you have that gratitude of love and your essence coming into play there, then you're going to embrace the chaos. In fact, you're not going to avoid it. I say I have a quote where successful people love a blind spot because they know I am only one blind spot away from greatness. Because if they're being stopped in something, there's a blind spot. And if that can be brought to light, it may be the very blind spot that gets them over the hump, that gets them to hitting that bullseye. And I want you to be that person. So what we're going to ask you to do, preparation for tomorrow, is to really just ask yourself, who am I really? Who am I really? What am I focusing on? And in what you'll get for tomorrow, I will put in that video of Tony Robbins so you can really look at that again. That's something that I would look at. There's a couple of videos I look at every day. And one is by Brendon Burchard. And we've got it right there on the site for you to see. In fact, right there, you can see that video when you finish watching this. And I say, watch that every day. Watch this Tony Robbins one every day and step into your greatness. So, Yasmine, we're going to wind it up here, but just kind of with going forward with the things you were offering. And did you have a challenge and maybe?
I do. Without that little commercial interruption I had a little bit ago, to tie into what the essence and survival mechanism can look like as an action for them, to identify how that would work. Right. So I would encourage people to at least ask 3 to 5 people in their life what they see, what they bring, what is, to identify the essence, what happens when you walk into a room. So what you're going to get feedback, for example, when you walk into a room, people are going to have all kinds of really great things to say to you. And I would encourage you to just, pick up the phone, call some people and say, I'm doing this exercise. I just have a question for you. What happens when I walk in the room? What do I bring?
Yeah.
And so then just close the mouth and just start writing. Like, what do I bring? What strengths? What do you see me? What energy do you get from me? Start writing down all those things that you hear them saying, right? And those things could be boiled down to just the essence of the word. Hi. I know, honey. I'm almost done, okay? I'm almost done. So, but then the survival mechanism are the complaints that you have. Yeah. So those complaints you can also ask, well, when you see me stuck or when you see me in a fearful place, how does that look to you? And start getting that feedback, because sometimes if we're in it, we're in it. But you'll start to recognize that there are qualities. What qualities do I bring into a room? What qualities do I bring into your life because I'm in your life? So I'd invite you to ask 3 to 5 people, make it a very laser focused activity. Just pick up the phone and call, people that you would invite to a party. Or you could just, ask people that you work with or your family. And it gives you an idea or sense of what that is. That's the 2 actions. One would be, ask people that question about your essence, and ask people the question about when you're in fear, what they recognize in you. And outside of that, I really want to encourage people to be courageous, because it's not very comfortable to ask people to give you that feedback. But I really invite you to let that go. See, now my daughter, for example, wants to get her way right now, right? So we can show up this way in our life, right? She's in fear she's not going to get what she wants. We do this in our life, and it stops us, right? So I'm going to read a really great quote, if that's okay. It's called The Paradoxical Commandments. And I'm going to share that with everybody, if that's okay, because I think it really ties in with all the stuff that we've been doing. I can do that today, or I could do that tomorrow. But before I do, I just want to share one thing. Alyssa, can you come here, please?
Yasmine, why don't we do
I can
this?
do it tomorrow.
Why don't we, why don't you send me a copy of that? We'll
Okay.
the communications out, and we'll go through that tomorrow. And I'm going to kind of go ahead and wind it up here, and then we're going to be coming back tomorrow with some great stuff where we're going to actually bring somebody in and do some one-on-one coaching and let you see how that looks. And so I appreciate you being here today, Yasmine, and bringing everything that you do to the table. You're absolutely amazing. Thank you so much. And it's just a little short quote for us, and that short quote is, and so we'll have you just kind of mute out there, Yasmine, before we end. So anyway, the short quote is Ankara Imparo. And that is my daily intention. If you don't know what that means, it means I am still learning. And the story behind that is that Michelangelo, after painting the Sistine Chapel at the age of 87, spoke those words, Ankara Imparo. So that's what I encourage you to do, is keep learning, because I'm in my 60s, our 5 generations. Yasmine is the 40s. And so I don't care where you're at. I don't care if you've never been an entrepreneur. All I care is if you want to be an entrepreneur. And if you have any desire inside of yourself to do that, I want to encourage you to be courageous. I want to encourage you to keep learning so that you can step into your passion, so that you can step into your empowerment, because you deserve to be everything you want to be, and everything you choose to be, and everything you focus on. So anyway, it was great being with you all today, and thank you so much, Yasmine. You're amazing, and I love how we're just able to come and be real, and what's happening is happening in our lives, just like it is in yours. So we'll look forward to seeing you all tomorrow on day 5 of week 1. Talk to you later. Bye for now.
Thank you, Daddy.
Okay.
You're amazing. Bye.